Hello, guys, and welcome back to League One predictions. We are back predicting the third tier of English football after FA Cup first round weekend last time. Obviously, there was no video, but we've got quite a lot to catch up on. There's been a couple of managerial changes, and Stockport have gone top, Ben, since we last spoke, and Peterborough United are bottom, but obviously they're one of the teams that have changed their managers. Lots to get into. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's amazing. We were just sort of plugged into this, and it was like, right, what's been going on? All of those changes, all of this goings on. You take your eyes off League One for 1 week or whatever when there's FA Cup, and a lot changes, but really looking forward to getting back into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we were saying just before we started recording, we're going to have to recharge our League One batteries, of course, because we've got the Championship 3-game week going on as well. So that's a good time to plug. Make sure you've dropped a like and subscribe to both of our channels. Lots of content going out. I'll try and remember the scores from last time, Ben. I think everything added up since we last met was 5-5, which means it's 93-93. We're still drawing. Very tight. Let's get into the predictions because we have got one game coming on the Tuesday night, a catch-up game, first of all, between Rotherham United and Burton Albion. They both come into this, Ben, in a good moment, I guess. I mean, Rotherham in the league in particular, they had won 5 games in a row in all comps, including some Pizza Cup games, but they did lose to League Two Swindon in the FA Cup at the weekend. Burton Albion, Ben, went away to Wimbledon and won 1-0 in their last League One match, and then they smashed St Albans 6-0 in the FA Cup. What are you thinking about this one?
It's a hard one to call because, as you say, they're both underachieving sides, but Burton normally do this. Rotherham, we have an idea that they should be performing, better than they have been. But maybe Hamill is, kind of getting to grips with it now, and they're moving in the right direction. So I guess with that being said, I might just go with home advantage and 2 hot hands. I always kind of like Burton for a goal. They'll stick the ball in the box and cause bother. So I'm going to start bold. It feels like a 2-1, but I'll go 3-1. 3-1 Rotherham.
Oh, I quite like that. I was thinking 1-0 either way. I will join you going for the Millers. I'll go 1-0 to Rotherham, but Burton always seems to be pretty fine margins. I mean, I've got to say, I was really impressed with that away win at Wimbledon last time in League One, because obviously we've given Wimbledon their credit. But Rotherham appear to be going in the right direction at the minute, Ben. Maybe things are just falling back into place for them. And maybe they'll be climbing into the top half soon. I'll go 1-0 to the Millers, and you've got 3-1. We'll move over to the weekend's games now, Ben, and we can talk about Reading bringing in Liam Richardson. They take on Stevenage, who have fallen out of the top 2 since we last spoke, Ben. Stevenage have slipped to 4th. I'm sure they'll be looking to get straight back into that top 2. But first of all, Ben, Liam Richardson going in, of course, did very well at this level with Wigan Athletic. He had that spell at Rotherham United, of course, which I kind of forgot about, actually. What do you think? Can he drag Reading away from trouble? I will mention they actually lost to Carlisle in the FA Cup at the weekend. They were 2-0 up going into stoppage time, and they lost 3-2 in extra time.
Well, you would think he can drag Reading away from trouble. So has he not been in since Rotherham then, Liam?
No.
Yeah,
no, he hasn't.
It feels like a long... That was at the back end of the 23-24 season. He wasn't there long at all. Because I remember, speaking of Rotherham as we just were, Tony Stewart went back on himself and took Steve Evans back right at the end of that season. He's killed it in this league. And we say this a lot in testing circumstances. Well, Wigan had all sorts of nonsense going on, points deductions seemingly like every season, didn't they? And he really took them out of that trouble. And it's not... I always think it's an old wives' tale when everyone's like, oh, you see the assistant manager and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Mark Robbins, he's no good without 85 Ash or whoever. But it was being really sold. Paul Cook, he's no good without Liam Richardson for a while. And look where Cookie is and look where Liam Richardson is now. And he's a few levels above. So, not a few levels anymore, but he certainly was at one point. So I think there's a good manager in there, Matt. Are you up first on this one?
I am. Speaking of Paul Cook, he's at Chesterfield, isn't he? And they actually beat Stevenage at the weekend, I will say, in the FA Cup.
There you go. And we come full circle as ever.
I wonder, Ben, can Stevenage go back to winning ways? Maybe they've. Is it a good time that they've caught Reading out before Liam Richardson's really settled down, or
Possibly,
are we
yeah.
expecting a bit of a bounce at some point? I'm going to sit on the fence here, Ben. I think Reading's squad is good enough to pull away from that bottom four at some point. I'll go 1-1.
Yeah, I am not going to sit on the fence. So you're right. There's either a new manager bounce or Stevenage will get back. It's more likely that Stevenage will get back, isn't it? So I'll back the away win here, and I will go Reading 0, Stevenage 1.
Yeah, we like Stevenage for a 1-0 win. There you go. And that will put them back in contention for the top two. Hey, Ben. Let's move over to Sixfields now, where Northampton Town take on Mansfield Town. Mansfield in a really good run of form at the minute. I think across all competitions, they've scored 10 in their last 5. So they're averaging 2 a game, which doesn't surprise us with Mansfield. And it was a typical Mansfield result at the weekend. I think they won 3-2 in the Cup. Northampton, Ben, they lost to Oldham in the FA Cup. I don't know what to read into that. Their last couple defeats, their last 2 games in the league have ended in defeat as well. What are we saying?
I think we're saying an away win with both teams to score, which is kind of classic Mansfield fare. I've got to say, 3-4 weeks ago, I'd have had Northampton because they had a lovely little run, isn't it? Funny though, and I know we lament the FA Cup a lot, but if you are even, I'm not saying disrespectful, even if you are Northampton, you are almost like, oh well, could do with the weekends off and concentrate on survival in League One. What's the real quiz here? So I will go. Do you know, I'm being brave again. I'm going to do another 3-1. It feels like a 2-1, but I'm just trying to throw caution to the wind on the predictions today, Matt. Try and get back in front of you, mate. 1-3.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I'm going to back Mansfield as well. They've been in great form, and I do always like Mansfield for both teams to score. However, maybe Northampton are the right tonic for that because Northampton's always low scoring.
Yeah,
I wonder if, at Sixfields, we haven't had many goals, have we, this season? I will go for just the 1-0 win for Mansfield, actually. I wonder if they're just going to snatch it. Northampton are going to try and stay in this and snatch it themselves, but I will back Mansfield. And as we said just before we went live, Ben, they're right on the edges of the playoffs, so wouldn't that be interesting if they could break in there next? We've both got the Mansfield win. Let's move down to Adams Park, where Wycombe Wanderers take on Leyton Orient. Got to say, Ben, I've been really impressed by Wycombe Wanderers so far under Duff. They've had a pretty good start in their first few league games. I think it was 8 points in 4. They nearly beat Fulham in the Carabao Cup, actually. They took them to penalties, and then they did beat Plymouth in the FA Cup at the weekend as well. I will say that we're recording this Monday, and we're aware that Leyton Orient's FA Cup game against Tamworth is on the Monday night, so we are recording before that anyway. Leyton Orient have just been too inconsistent for me, Ben. I could see them winning this, but I'm actually going to go with Wycombe, who are a bit of a hot hand at the minute. I'll go 2-1.
It feels like goals, doesn't it, with these two side. Stuff won't leave anything to chance. And we were talking about who is it? Connolly and Ballard up top for Orient, who look savage, don't they? So I think I might go for a Desmond here. Can't separate the two. Get me goals in and don't have to predict either of them to lose. So let's go 2-2, Matt.
Oh, I love that. But it's raining goals where you are right now, Ben. Love that. We'll head up to Bloomfield Road, where this one could be interesting. We've got Blackpool, Ben, who sit 23rd, and they take on Cardiff, who are obviously 3rd in the table at the minute. Cardiff did lose in the FA Cup to Peterborough at the weekend, but I wonder, Ben, they're not going to be losing any sleep over that because they're obviously flying in League One. That's the main objective. And they're also going strong in the Carabao Cup. They got to the quarterfinals by beating Wrexham, and I was really impressed by that performance, actually.
Yeah.
So, they're not going to go on all 4 fronts because they're still in the Pizza Cup as well. So I think Cardiff won't lose sleep over going out of the Cup. Blackpool, maybe they're going to get going at some point. They did win in the Cup against Scunthorpe, I will say, but obviously National League opposition. Where are we going? I think we're going away win, aren't we, Ben?
I think so. Am I up first, boss?
Yeah, and this was a Championship playoff final, I think 2010, wasn't it?
Oh, God. Chopra?
Yeah, Charlie Adam.
Oh,
Blackpool won 3-2, didn't they?
Hing him in, yeah. Gary Taylor Fletcher, possibly.
Yes.
Going through. It's one of those ones where you stick Sky Sports on randomly in the middle of the day and they're just replaying the game for the 7,000th time. I know. I hope the commentator gets royalties, for that. But yeah, I suppose if you're Cardiff, you're a little bit annoyed that you've won 3 in 5, but Stockport have still snuck past. I know they've got a game in hand, and now, you all of a sudden, we're in one of those awkward League One promotion races that have 3 and maybe 4 teams in for the top 2, rather than, it looked fairly safe for Cardiff a few weeks ago, didn't it? So I will go for them to get back to winning ways. I think Everett will pull the nose up of the plane there, but I think Cardiff get it done, like you say, 0-1.
Yeah, just thinking as you mentioned that, Ben, Ian Everett must have been part of that Blackpool team that got promoted from the Championship that season. They beat Cardiff.
Pass.
I'm wondering with this one. I will go Cardiff. What did you take, Ben?
0-1.
I will go 1-2. I think you're right, Ben. Obviously, Stockport are flying. And we said this would come, didn't we? That 4 or 5 game winning run from Stockport. But I think Cardiff's eyes are now going to be on Bradford, who are drawing quite a lot. They'll be thinking, right, can we join Stockport in the top 2? So I will go for Cardiff, but I will echo what Ben said, that at some point Blackpool probably will start to climb away from where they are now. We'll move over, Ben, to Bolton Wanderers versus Port Vale. They both won in the FA Cup, I mentioned. Bolton beat Huddersfield for the second time in about 2 weeks. And Port Vale destroyed Malden and Tiptree, who I think were the lowest ranked team left in the FA Cup. Port Vale have been interesting on the data, haven't they, Ben? Everything says they should be higher than where they are. But then that said, their last league game was a defeat 3-0 to Stockport. That said, Stockport, brilliant.
Ask Will Still what the data says, yeah?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Exactly, yeah.
Bolton are very good on data, Ben, and maybe they're starting to match up to it, though. I think that's 3 wins in 4 in the league.
Yeah, very
so
good.
7th now. Let's have a Bolton 1-0.
Yeah, I was going to go with Bolton as well. You've gone for the Darren Moore low scorer, haven't you? I wonder if... how close is Burstow to top scorer in the league? But yeah, he is top scorer in the league. Yeah, I was just going to say, I wonder whether he might be your guy, your mega goal getter.
And they've got Cozier Dewberry on 4 goals as well, to be fair, as well, haven't they?
And it's always the same goal, isn't it? Off the right, bend in the top corner. He thinks he's Abdul Fatawi, which is a very niche EFL.
Callum
reference.
Hudson-Odoi as well.
Yeah, right. There you go for your Premier League version of it. Okay. Sorry, Matt. What did you take?
1-0.
I'll go 2-0. I don't mind the 1-0 actually.
Yeah, there we go. We've both got the Bolton win. 1-0 and 2-0. Do share your thoughts down below, Trotters. I wonder if we're going to see Bolton starting to close in on the top 2 next as well. Speaking of which, we've got Bradford City up next, Ben. They're back at Valley Parade. 4 draws in a row in the league, and they did lose in the FA Cup as well to Cheltenham. But once again, I'm going to mention it, but I don't know how much to read into it, because Bradford's concentration is going to be on promotion this season if they could stay in that top 2 race, or if not, they'll be surely in the playoff race at least. They take on Burton, Ben. Burton will have travelled to Rotherham just before this one as well, so 2 trips up to Yorkshire. What are you saying?
Well, Nietzsche is a great philosopher I sometimes like to quote, but I'm going to quote the great Matt SB here. If you draw a load of games and you win on the end, it's a nice unbeaten record. If you draw a load of games and then you lose, it's a winless record. So Bradford are in that spot, aren't they? I think they're going to stick a win on the end of it. Remember, we got Burton are going to have to play twice, aren't they? And they're going to have to travel twice. So maybe just Burton are going to be knackered. They'll give a good account of themselves. Probably score 2-1.
Yeah, do you know what though, Ben? I remember a couple of weeks ago when we had to predict Burton twice in 1 week, and we were saying, it's going to take it out of them. And then they went down to Cardiff and won, and then they went up to Doncaster and got something as well. So although Burton can pop up with those surprise results, I am going to join Ben with the obvious Bradford win. You've taken a 2-1. I'll take a 1-0. I always quite like it to be tight with Burton. And the main thing is Bradford get 3 points and make it an unbeaten run, as we said. Right, Ben, we've got a Yorkshire derby up next as Doncaster Rovers take on Barnsley, 2 teams that have been falling away in the league, actually. I think
Rubbish!
That's 2 points in 5 from both of them, actually. That's a poor run. Both did win in the FA Cup at the weekend. I fancy goals here, Ben. I like Barnsley's chances a bit more. I know they're away from home, but I think they're more likely to start pushing back towards the playoffs. They won 3-2 against York in the FA Cup. I'm going to go for the same score. Doncaster 2, Barnsley 3.
They're not the worst away from home. I did think that Donny being at home might be the equaliser. All things considered, you kind of would favour Barnsley in terms of squad. I think I'll take the draw here. I don't think I've had a safe as houses 1-1 yet, so I think I might do that. But God, both sides desperately need a win, don't they? But yeah, a bit worried about Doncaster cascading down the table.
Yes, I agree with you on that. I will say, I know they're right next to each other in the table, but I do think Barnsley have 2 games in hand on Doncaster. Yeah, they do. So maybe,
Mansfield last year, Matt, came up. Was it their first season up? I think it might have been, mightn't it?
Yeah.
Started really well and then nosedived and then picked it up again. I wonder if we're seeing something similar.
Yeah, streaky Doncaster, eh? We'll go down to Devon next, Ben, as Exeter City take on Wigan Athletic. Trying to think what to say for this one. You got Exeter City, who seem to pull out results when we least expect it. They're doing all right, aren't they? As long as they're above the bottom 4, that's fine. Wigan have been just so mid-table, haven't they? We're not really getting a proper reading on them. They can pull out good results. As for the weekend, they did both win in the FA Cup, but they're both playing non-league opposition. Where are you going with this, Ben? I'm kind of glad you're up first. I'm feeling a draw.
Well, if they both won in the FA Cup, and I can see 4 points from the last 2 from Wigan and 7 in 4 from Exeter, that, maybe there is some cause for optimism. For no reason whatsoever, I'm going to back a nice journey on the coach on the way back for the Wigan fans. It's a hell of a journey, that, for God's sake, isn't it? Let's go low margin, 1-0 Wigan, an away win.
I quite like that. I do like Wigan for goals this season. I will take a 1-1. I think, I'm sitting on the fence for this one, which is a solid point for Exeter. It keeps them, above that bottom 4 for now. And for Wigan, it extends a little unbeaten run at the minute. I think Wigan took a draw last time they came down to Devon when they played Plymouth earlier this month. Last month in October. Forgetting where I am now in November. I'll go for a 1-1, Ben. I'm struggling to separate that one. Share your thoughts if you support either of them down below. I'll tell you what I am quite confident about, Ben. That's Plymouth Argyle losing. They go to Huddersfield, and I know Huddersfield are not in a great position. They lost again to...
This is the battle of the underachievers, Matt.
Well, it is, but there is a massive disparity still between the two. We were saying just before we started, actually, I picked up on Huddersfield have actually lost 6 games in 13, which is a hell of a lot for a team we thought would be in contention for the top 2. Plymouth, we thought at minimum would be in the playoff picture, and they are stinking the house out, Ben, aren't they, in that bottom 4? They lost again in the FA Cup. I'm up first, and I'm going to go 2-0 Huddersfield. I think if I'm a Huddersfield fan here, Ben, I'm saying just go for it. Put your foot on the pedal and really go for it. Because I think my criticism of Lee Grant, which the Huddersfield fans have voiced, is that he's too cautious, too pragmatic. When there's a game to be won, he's not quite going for it. I think Plymouth are there to be rolled over, unfortunately. 2-0 Huddersfield. Okay.
It's a lovely Neil Warnock derby as well, isn't it? I think they'll make hard work of it, but they'll win. I think it might be 1-0 Huddersfield, and I think the Huddersfield fans might be made to sit and wait for the goal to go in as well. And might even have to wait for someone who didn't start the game to score the goal as well. But Argyle in real bother, and always say it, don't we? 4 relegated. The more you mess around and find out in League One, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not looking good for Cleverley down there, of course. And the thing I always sort of hung on to, Ben, that even if they didn't have a great season this year, is they'd be hard to beat at their place. But that's not been the case, and they're just not picking up results on the road either. So that's why they are where they are. Speaking of being down near the bottom, we've got bottom of the table Peterborough United up next, who take on the high-flying AFC Wimbledon. Peterborough, Ben, bringing in Luke Williams. They did beat Cardiff in the FA Cup at the weekend. AFC Wimbledon lost to Gateshead. Don't know how much we read into that. Can Peterborough build on that FA Cup result that might bring some positivity to the place?
I'm not so sure. And if we know how Luke Williams wants to play, that doesn't feel new manager bouncy, especially when you're coming from Darren Ferguson, who's literally been there 4 times. It's not going to be a manager that the players weren't buying into, that are all of a sudden going to start playing well, I don't think. So I think I might go for our safe prediction when it comes to Wimbledon. You know exactly what's coming, don't you, Matt? Peterborough 0, Wimbledon 1.
And that is a scribble.
Because it is, yeah.
Yeah, I love Wimbledon for a 1-0 win. Very efficient this season. And of course, they're still in that playoff picture. They sit 6th at the minute. A win will secure their place in there for another week at least. I think you did mention, actually, like only a week ago, Ben, that Peterborough need to sack Darren Ferguson to then bring him back later in the season to keep them up. So
give it Grant McCann for a little while before, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, God. I'm wondering, should I flip it? You've been really adventurous today, Ben. Do you know what? I'm going to completely rip up the script and go Peterborough 3-2. I'll go 3-2 to Posh. Maybe a bonkers first league game here for Luke Williams. I don't really associate Wimbledon with open games like this, but Peterborough need a result, and I'll just go for them to outscore Wimbledon. So 3-2 to Peterborough.
They'll become a bit more their old self under Williams if he gets that kind of Notts County style going, won't he?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I'll go for them to bang in the goals. There you go. You've justified my prediction for me, Ben. We'll move up to the New York Stadium again. Rotherham United at home again. They take on Lincoln City. Lincoln, of course, right on the edges of the... they're in the playoffs, Ben. They're 5th in the table, actually. They did lose to Salford on penalties in the FA Cup at the weekend. Once again, I think there's a theme here, Ben. The teams that are doing very well in League One were quite happy to go out of the FA Cup, it would seem. Which, yeah, does... clarify that they're really going for it in the league. I've given Rotherham the win over Burton. I'll go for them to get 4 points. I want to give Lincoln something here. I think Rotherham have improved and they have the home advantage, so I will give them something again, but I think Lincoln will be good for a draw. 1-1.
I thought you were going to steal my nil for that one. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think I want to give Lincoln something. Yeah, Rotherham playing twice could be a hindrance, but we think they're in good form, so it may well not be. And you say Lincoln in the top 6, they're a good win off top of the table, aren't they? So they're right in the mix. I mean, to be fair, if I'm saying that about Lincoln, I could say that about Wimbledon as well. 3 points separating those 6. 0-0.
0-0. Okay, there you go. Both going for a share of the spoils. And then the final game, Ben, is at Edgeley Park. Stockport County, top of the table Stockport versus a team that a lot of us thought would be top of the table in Luton Town, who had a bonkers game in the FA Cup on the Friday night.
Were you doing a watch-along at the same time and just getting constantly barraged with goals from the Kenny? I thought, I know Matt's live at the moment. He's going to be experiencing the same thing as me, right?
Yeah, that's it. They're all talking about the Luton versus Forest Green game. And what a game that was. Of course, the Wrexham Coventry game was a good game on the Friday night as well. That was a Rob Edwards derby, wasn't it? Luton v Forest Green. Good encouraging signs there for Jack Wilshere, and they did get the win at Northampton the week before. Has this game just come too early? I think we've said before that Dave Chandler just has that edge, doesn't he, at Edgeley Park against the lesser experienced managers. Luton have got the quality to get something, but I'm fancying Stockport. But you're up first, Ben.
I know you're going to want the 1-0 Stockport, aren't you? So I will leave it to you. Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's some promising signs from Luton and Jack Wilshere, but he said after, who was that first game against Mansfield? He said he learned a lot about League One. I think he's about to learn a lot about League One sides that are already finely tuned and know what they're doing now in terms of Stockport. So I will go 2-1 to the home side.
Yep, I like that. And thank you, Ben. You've left me the tap in. I'll
You're
take
welcome.
1-0 Stockport. I love Stockport for a 1-0 win. They'll take it however it comes, just get another 3 points on the board. And this is maybe, Ben, where they start to stretch their legs. That's 4 wins in a row. You wouldn't put it past Stockport going 6, 7, dare I say, even 8 at this level. And then at that point, it's pretty difficult for the teams chasing, of course. Luton, I do think, could... there's still such a long way to go in this season. They could still be brought into a top 2 race at some point, but I just wonder if this game's a bit too early for Jack Wilshere. And the signs have been good, but I just fancy Stockport the way they're going. So 1-0 and 2-1. Share your thoughts down below. That wraps up the League One predictions for this week, guys. Be sure, as I say, to share your predictions down below. Make sure you've dropped a like and subscribe. Subscribe to the amazing Benjamin Bloom, where there'll be lots of content going out this week. What can they look out for?
Well, they can look out for an interview with Matt SB. We're going to be talking some Championship over on my channel, which, strangely, we don't actually get to do very much. I often talk Premier League and League One, and I mean, I guess it's a bit of a busman's holiday for us talking to each other about the Championship. It's probably why we don't do it that often. But I'm going to be checking in with Matt on commentary, promotion picture at large in the EFL Championship. So once you finish watching this, head over there and see what Matt's got to say about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Get involved, guys. There'll also be the predictions with Sam Parkins, so check that out. And Ben always does a Q&A, so if you want to interact with him, maybe he'll be doing one during the international break coming up. Thank you once again for all of your great support, guys. We'll see you for more League One stuff next week. Take care. Peace out.